Good morning, everyone. Today, we delve into a critical subject, the mask of progress. This presentation aims to unveil the subtle, yet potent mechanisms of 21st century fascism. The core idea is simple, yet unsettling: the greatest danger to democracy no longer comes from those who openly reject it. Instead, it arises from those who skillfully use democracy's own language to subtly destroy its very substance. Fascism, as we've known it, hasn't disappeared, it has simply mutated. Let's compare the old enemy with this new mutation. Traditional fascism, the old enemy, operated as an overt dictatorship. It openly rejected democratic institutions and relied heavily on visible violence, which, predictably, provoked immediate and widespread resistance. But the mutation, what we call fake progressivism, operates differently. It employs subtle manipulation, hollowing out institutions from within, and relies on hypocrisy rather than overt force. The outcome is insidious: it neutralizes resistance by appearing virtuous, confusing, and fracturing the opposition. This new form suffocates democracy from within. The tactic is not to reject democratic institutions but to use them to entrench power. The rhetoric involves constantly repeating words like reform, while the actual pursuit is the perpetuation of privilege. The result is a system that appears to strengthen democratic forms while weakening democratic reality, ultimately eroding freedom and equality. So, what are the characteristics of this fake progressive phenomenon? We can break it down into 4 key elements. First, there's the monopoly of morality, declaring exclusive righteousness, where opponents are branded as evil, rather than simply wrong. Second, we see absolutized factionalism: issues are judged based on loyalty to the group, not on the merits of policy itself. Third is perpetual victimhood, behaving as the resistance, even when holding total power, allowing them to evade accountability. And finally, institutionalized credentials, using past democratization achievements as a permanent political license. When this structure forms, progress ceases to be a dynamic movement and instead becomes a static status, a shield for vested interests. Let's explore the moral monopoly and the loyalty trap. This group constructs a moral shield, creating a clear division between the righteous us and the immoral them. They morally exclude opponents to bypass any genuine policy debate. If the opposition is inherently evil, then compromise becomes impossible. This leads to a factional sword, where decisions are driven by what protects the group, not what genuinely serves the public. The objective, as stated here, is the perpetuation of factional power under the guise of justice. Another key tactic is weaponizing the past to control the present. This manifests in 2 ways. First, the victim narrative, continuously acting like the underdog resistance, even after gaining full control of the state. This insulates them from accountability for their current actions. Second, the license of history. Past democratization struggles are treated as permanent immunity shields against any criticism. When these past struggles become present immunity, progress has fundamentally turned reactionary, hindering rather than advancing true democratic ideals. Let's look at the Korean paradox. South Korea has made remarkable progress, moving from rapid industrialization to robust democratization, building immense resilience. However, despite being a mature democracy surrounded by a global far-right resurgence, the most significant threat today comes from within. It's the emergence of fake progressivism, a hypocritical form posing as democratic virtue, that has become the central problem. A prime example of this internal struggle is seen in the struggle over the new Lee Jae-myung. Here, Lee Jae-myung is at the center. We see conservatives and centrists, but a crucial dynamic involves the fake progressive gatekeepers. Flexible progressives, represented by the gate, welcome the expansion of the movement. However, the fake progressives, represented by the fist inside the gate, outwardly support Lee but inwardly resent any dilution of their power. They actively brand newcomers as opportunists, to maintain their gatekeeping role and protect their established influence. This gatekeeping is, in essence, a defense of privilege. The distinction often made between new and old supporters isn't a genuine political debate, it's a mechanism to defend existing vested interests. Fake progressives fear expansion because new supporters dilute their existing factional authority. They prioritize their specific faction's power above the success and broader impact of the progressive movement itself, maintaining a barrier labeled purity against new entrants. This inevitably leads to the degeneration of the vanguard. What once represented sacrifice and a commitment to reform now morphs into an era of entitlement. Those who are unable to adapt to historical change now actively obstruct democratic advancement. What was once a vibrant reform movement risks transforming into a self-interested establishment, losing its original purpose and dynamism. We are now in the era of emotional consumption in politics. Hypocrisy has become prevalent, appearing virtuous many times, yet abandoning true virtue at the one decisive moment. Politics has devolved into mere political fandom and emotional consumption, largely fueled by social media. This focus on emotional responses and superficial consistency blinds voters to crucial betrayals, leading to a decline in intellectual debate and the dominance of factional mobilization over reasoned discourse. To counteract this, we must reclaim the true meaning of progress. Progress is not defined by left or right ideology. Instead, progress equals the expansion of freedom and capacity for all. This aligns with the spirit of Hanjik Ingan, the Korean philosophy meaning benefit to all mankind. Whether a policy originates from the left or right becomes irrelevant if it genuinely expands citizens' freedom and capabilities, then it is inherently progressive. The antidote to this insidious mutation is civic intelligence. This means placing democratic standards above blind loyalty. We must evaluate all power, whether it comes from friends or foes, by the same consistent criteria. It's crucial to remember that no single leader can save democracy ultimately. Only informed and engaged citizens can preserve and strengthen it. In conclusion, the struggle for democracy has fundamentally shifted. Once, our fight was against overt dictatorship. Now, our fight is against subtle hypocrisy and the erosion of democratic substance from within. The surest way to preserve true progress is to constantly question it, to scrutinize those who claim to act in its name, and to remain vigilant against any mask that hides a different agenda. This continuous renewal is essential for democracy's survival.